Hey, I'm Aaron, and I'm a Norse Pagan, and welcome to the hipster of Odin. I haven't updated in such a while, and I'm going to be very honest with you. For the last couple of weeks, I've been feeling really disconnected, and I've been feeling as if life has been getting me down. My heart chakra seems very blocked. And this is kind of a response to something that Jacob Todson in his videos from The Wisdom of Odin has suggested, of once a week going into nature to make you feel a little bit more connected and not so disconnected. So something very exciting that I would like to show you is something just behind this massive Laogoose tree looking thing. And behind this tree looking thing is, and you can see another Laogoose there, to represent emotion and flow. And I'll tell you the reason why. This is my Lambertier site. So if you can see here, all this here is a massive stream that comes all the way down. And I'm not entirely sure if you can see right there, but right there is where my Lambertier sits and rests. Right there in this nice, lovely, engulfed stream, tingling with light and greenery and nature. That is where I found my Lambertier. And in the waters, I gave an orange a very long time ago. And before, it gave me a mineral stone from this very waters. For me, I just thought it was a rock, and I was looking for a rock for a Lambertier anyway. And I was looking to find connection to a Lambertier site. But I've come here many times, and I've given offerings at this Lambertier site so many times. And yes, at this moment in time, it's winter, so you can kind of tell that there's no leaves on the trees. Just a moment ago, it rains like so heavy. I was covered in rain. Yes, I'm cold. Yes, I'm wet. But in that moment in time, I just stood there and I just took in the rain. And yes, I was just wearing a beanie, no hood. I was just standing there and I was just taking in the rain. And I felt to myself, this was Thor's way of saying, welcome back, my friend. Welcome to nature. So, and technically what I was doing before the rain hit is that I placed, there's something that they do in Sweden, just as much as they drum in nature, is that they place their head on the tree, they place their hands on the tree, and they just pray. And you might think, well, how do you pray? Well, technically, just by thinking about the things that you want to do in your life and about the things you want to achieve, and see them in your mind and pray to the tree. Say to the tree, so this is the oxygen that I breathe in, that you breathe out. And here's carbon dioxide that I breathe out, that you breathe in. And by doing that exchange, you're giving something back to the tree, and the tree is giving something back to you. So it is very steep down here in my Lambertier site. However, I've prepared maybe like a small altar, because this place actually has a very small altar place for me to actually give offerings. Or what I really want to do is give the offering of sound. So, as you can see right here, this is my small little altar of spiritual objects. And there is a little area of this tree that I can sit down in. And as you can see, there is the waterfall right there. This is where I've given many offerings. This is where I've given many foods. This is where I've given music. This is where I've given so many things to connect myself to this Lambertier spirit. And just seeing the water come back to this amazing stream. I remember in the time of summer, this stream was completely dried up, that there was no stream here. And over there, I'm not entirely sure if you can see it, but there's a pond area over there. That was the area where I was actually giving offerings during summer. And, you know, I did feel connected, but when I see a stream like this, as powerful as it is, it makes me feel even more connected. And I'm happy about this, you know what I mean? I was here in a place where the stream was dried up, and now I'm back at a place where the stream has come back. And it fills me full of energy, it fills me full of power, it fills me full of so much joy to see this Lambertier doing so well. So I'm gonna ignite the space with some sounds that I would think that you guys would like to hear, but also the Lambertier spirit too. So what I do to really ignite the space is that I actually use this bell. This bell I actually got from a Wiccan witch, and it actually has the Wiccan symbol on there. And what I usually do is that I just simply ring the bell like this. next thing I do is that I use this shaman's whistle that I got from Peru. So this is the shaman's whistle that I got from Peru. That takes the breath out of me. The next thing I use to connect to this Lambertier spirit, this is known as a Tibetan singing bowl. And inside of it you see like a pentacle star with like 5 Buddhist monks. But in my opinion, this kind of like bowl is a great way, because just listen to it right now as I'm going to play it. Here's the mallet, and you hold your hand out with 5 areas representing air, earth, water and fire, but also spirit. And right there you can see the sun engulfing the space, and it is as if whatever I'm doing is really working to connect me here. So So, ladies and gentlemen, I've currently got myself, I use like sachet coffee, and I've just used like a thermal, so there you go. Pumpkin spice latte, cheers to you guys. If you've got like a hot beverage at home, like a coffee or a beer or anything, but right now what I'm gonna do with you guys, just a simple little cheers. Skål! Oh, that's so sweet. That's really enjoyable. So what Jacob said in one of his videos is that he gets up, he has his glass of water in the morning, and then he waits an hour typically to drink coffee. So I had my breakfast, had a glass of water, and then I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna grab all my stuff, I'm gonna go hiking, and then when it's like now, then I'm gonna have a coffee. And right now, because I feel so spiritually connected to this Lambertier spirit right now, I'm just drinking this coffee, but I'm having so much gratitude drinking this coffee that it's only powdered coffee. It's like I've got the thermal here, I've got the little cup that comes with it, I've got the powdered coffee. So yeah, yay, coffee. It's not the same as like, there was the time when I had like French press coffee in this once. That was brilliant. You can have as much of it as possible. All this video really is a representation of someone like me who watches Jacob's videos, and it's a response to that. And Jacob Todson is someone who I've looked up to for so long now. Like, if you just look at my style, yes, but it's more than that. It's more than just a style. Like, when I saw his videos during COVID-19, I kind of lost who I was and lost who I was about. When I saw his videos, it woke me up to a new reality of thinking things. Like me going into the forest, I already had intuition to go into the forest anyway. So if you see the clothes that I'm wearing, and if you see me doing all these rituals and stuff like this, it's because I'm heavily motivated and heavily inspired by this man, this brilliant man known as Jacob Tolson. You know, I'm not as skilled or talented as he is, but I am inspired by him. And when he said in his videos that to stay more connected, he goes outside maybe once a week, I was like, I could do that. And yes, it was raining yesterday, and it was raining just a moment ago, and I was like, oh, why am I out here? But it's this moment right now, me making a video, looking to you guys, being here with my oldest friend, the Lavateer Spirit, and drinking this cup of coffee that I'm just so grateful for where I am now, and grateful to all those who inspire me. So Jacob, if you are watching this video right now, thank you. Just thank you for being yourself. And thank you to every single person at home watching this video, because you are all unique individuals, and you inspire me too. If you watch this video, you inspire me, so thank you. Skal. I don't know what it is, but I have drunk this coffee in a mug before, and it has never tasted this sweet. And now I'm drinking it now, and it tastes sweeter than before. So you're probably thinking, what coffee am I drinking right now? I'm currently drinking pumpkin spice latte. That's because during autumn there was a time where B&M was just doing this great offer, like what is it, 69 or 98p for just pumpkin spice lattes. Like you get like 10 sachets in there, and I was like, yeah, I'm grabbing this, and I got like 4 boxes of it, and I still got some left over in like December and January, so skull to that. So you might be thinking right now that what am I working on at the moment? And currently I've made some this is my journal right here, and I've made some notes about stuff in my journal, about things that I'm working on at the moment. So the things that I'm working on at the moment is known as mind, body, and spirit. And what does that mean to me? Well, I've written down some notes, and I think it will just make sense if I just read them out to you and what I personally think. In my personal journey, I decided in December 2024, I made the conscious decision that the 3 gods I'm going to work with in 2025 is Odin, Thor, and Jord. But how are they going to be linked in mind, body, and spirit? Well, let's start with Odin. Odin is the All-Father, the wisest of the gods. Hunin, thought. Munin is memory. He represents the logical mind, the positive masculine. He represents the positive masculine, the phallus, the upwards triangle, the star triangle of David. So you know, with the star triangle of David kind of is like this. So Odin to me is intuition and is centered in the mind. Next, we come to Jord. Jord is, in other words, for the earth. She is, we are like living organisms teeming with life inside our own bodies. However, the earth is a planet and is a living organism. We are just the tiny microbes living within her. In the sources, she is the mother of Thor, the lover of Odin, and represents the negative of the feminine, which represents the vagina or the downwards triangle of the Star of David. And what that would be is like the downwards triangle there. So to me, Jord is the heart. Jord is emotion, spirit. The earth is the heart of all that lives within her. Next, we have Thor, the strongest of gods. The god of Thor is the people, he's the god of the people, the son of Odin, the son of Jord. He's a good father, a good friend, a good husband. And for me, he is the union of Jord and Odin. And I wrote down, I did like a little diagram in my journal of like what I meant by the star. So this is what I meant by that star. The union of Odin and the union of Jord creates this star, which is Thor. To me, Thor is the body of strength of the body and the one's own willpower from within us. So when the mind is in chaos and disconnected and is in madness, it must find and come down to union with the heart to find peace. And in that peace, the body will be stronger. So, you know, when you see Christians or Catholics and they do the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit and all this, have you noticed something? They're not doing they seem to think that this means the cross. It isn't. So I did a little diagram of what it represents and how I personally think it represents the Mjolnir. And you can kind of tell that it does look like the mind, the spirit, the heart, the body, and it looks like a Mjolnir. And for me, that's what that represents. However, I made some journal notes about, if I can get it up here, of what Jacob said about what Odin represents, what Thor represents, and what Jord represents. And this is the notes that I put down. He said, Odin is the head. This is where I feel Odin the most. But I feel Earth, Mother Jord, in the heart. But Thor I feel in the willpower of the mind and the heart working together in passion. So this is what I journaled down, what Jacob Todson has said. And what I have said have kind of linked as two perspectives. My perspective and his perspective is near enough in the same understanding. Now, you may think to yourself, so how can you connect with, like, I know how to connect with Odin, and I know how to connect with Thor, but how do you connect with Jord? Knowing that Jord is right here. She's Mother Earth. She's right out here. We can physically touch her. We're touching her right now. That sounds weird. Sorry. But Jord veneration is like a mother's hug. So if you want to sort of have a mother's hug, occasionally what I've noticed is that if I wear like a jumper like this, that's one of my favorite jumpers, or if I wear a scarf like this, or even a really nice coat and a nice hat like this, you feel like immersed into a mother's hug, staying cozy and warm as such. Jord veneration is the return to nature that birthed us, coming out here every day, or maybe once a week, as Jacob has suggested. Once a week we should come outside into nature and go for a nature hike. So coming out here into nature, holding this tree, hugging this tree, saying prayers to the tree, or just hiking around this magnificent conglomeration is what we should do to connect to Jord. And Jord veneration is honouring the natural medicines. So I noticed that Jacob got into teas because he, instead of focusing on medication, because if you think about it, in America, the medication you have to buy yourself. If you get a prescription from a doctor, you must buy it yourself. Everything you have to buy for. But over here in England, we kind of, if we get a prescription, yes, we have to buy the medication, but we don't have to buy the scans or anything. We have a free national healthcare system that kind of we don't have to pay for that much for our medical stuff. So instead of him going for like chemical medicines, he's decided that he was going to stick to teas. And he was doing things like lavender tea. So I actually spoke to him about it and what kind of teas he actually does. And he actually suggested that he does lavender teas. He's tried nettle teas. Not exactly cranberry teas, but I have watched in his videos where he does have said that for urinary issues, he has said that cranberry tea is one of those things. So I have actually done that thing. I've got nettle tea, I've got a hibiscus tea, which I think is a lot like cranberry tea, but I need to try cranberry tea, so that's what I'm about to do. I've tried lavender tea. I've noticed that when I drink lavender tea, I drink less beer, I drink less alcohol. So if you want to come out of beer, try lavender tea because it will relax you a lot more. So I've been trying all these things and they work. It's weird how tea can make you feel so relaxed, but it's true, it works. I get kind of disconnected, or if I want to write down something, it doesn't matter if it's a video. Sometimes I've stopped and paused Jacob's videos, or I've stopped and paused many people's videos and written them down in my journal because I felt in that moment in time that information was good for me. And then I've also written down my own opinions in this book and what I personally think. And I think that's what a journal should be. A journal, like if you feel disconnected, being able to just put down your phone, put down anything like social media and all this, and pick up your journal, write down how you're feeling in the moment. If you are going to pick up your phone, do something that you can learn. Stop the video, write something down that's interesting to you. I've read books, and something that has inspired me in a book, I would highlight it and then write it in this book. Like The Glastonbury Tourist, Jacob Todson's new book. I have actually physically highlighted most of that book at the moment. I'm still going through a second read, going through that book at this current moment in time. But it's funny how when you read it a first time, you kind of skim read it, but you kind of read it all the way through the passion, but you want to get to the end. But when you reread it again, you see things that you didn't see before. You imagine things, how you imagined it before was not the way that you imagine it now, and you see a refreshed version of what you just watched or what you've just read. So you see a refreshed version of what you've just read, and I found that very inspiring. So every time I'm reading it now, it's like I'm seeing a new version of what I've just read. It wasn't how I imagined it when I first read it, but it's now how I read it now is a lot more different than how I first read it. So I felt that was very inspiring. And also the spiritual practices of sweat lodges, cold exposure. If you go to the White Spring, that's cold exposure. The Wim Hof method of breathing, I've started to do that with crystals. I noticed that Jacob doesn't do it with crystals, but crystals, I use Reiki crystals to connect me. Reiki crystals for the heart, Reiki crystals for the third eye, Reiki crystals for the crown. All of these things, you can use them as medicines, and then you can meditate. When you meditate, you do the Wim Hof method of breathing in and out. And then he breathes out for a minute. I'm not going to do it in this video, but for explanations, this is how I do it. Breathing in for 15 seconds. But this little breathing method, you will be so surprised how doing that in 3 sets and then meditating with these Reiki crystals, and in the end the Reiki crystals feel like fire in your hands. When you do the cold exposure, when you come out of a cold shower, doing that breathing method starts regulating your blood flow, and I'm so surprised how much that actually works. So what I would suggest is that do the cold showers, you know, have your nice warm hot shower. And then after you've had your nice warm hot shower and you've relaxed and you've cleaned your body, even Wim Hof says that, have your nice warm shower, relax your muscles. And then once your muscles are relaxed, very, very slowly turn it to cold. And then when you're in that cold shower, your mind kind of races. You're in a survival mode. Your breath, your muscles tense up, you start going. When you get like that and you go, when it starts getting to cold for me, I'm like 1, 2, 3. When I get to 15 seconds and maybe a little bit over 15 seconds, that's when I've kind of done well in my mind. As long as I've not gone in there, I've gone cold and I've gone, I need to get out. As long as I'm not doing that, then I think that's perfect. But when I get past that 15 seconds, I know I'm doing well. And how I do it, what I've noticed is that if you stand there and you kind of just go, whatever you do, don't try the Wim Hof method breathing when you're in the shower or any cold exposure, because you will pass out. But if you just go, instead of these very, very light ones going, that's the survival breath. But when you're going, and I usually do this, that to me helps regulate my breathing when I'm in a cold environment. And another thing that it does for me is that it really does help me count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's that kind of aspect. So do more of that. You may think, how am I going to close this ritual up? You might be thinking, how am I going to close this ritual down? Well, I have the last few little drops of my coffee, and I just want to thank the Lamvertier spirit for their time, because I just think it's only right, and I don't want to be impolite, you know? I came here for a reason, and the reason was to be connected. So right now, you're going to watch me give the last little few drops of my coffee, which, by the way, is so sweet and it's breathtaking. Just look at this view. Look at that. Absolutely breathtaking. But here we go. Great Lambertier spirit of this land, I'd like to give you the last few drops of my coffee, because it is absolutely a sensation and a privilege to see you on this fine day. So to the great Lambertier spirit, please enjoy the comforts of pumpkin spice lattes, of last autumns, last Decembers, and great Januaries. However, it goes out of date in 2026, so yeah, good for me. So, here we go. And there it goes. But yeah, thank you, mighty Lambertier spirit, for your time. Thank you for your wisdom that you have given me. And thank you for your presence. It is an honor to see you again, and I can see that you're glad to see me with your bubbles bringing forward to me. It is an honor. Skull. Now, an offering doesn't have to be super complex or, you know, too much. It doesn't have to be like 12-year aged rums or scotches or like whiskies or anything like this. Sometimes a simple offering can be enough. Sharing a coffee or sharing a sandwich can be enough. The best way to treat Lambertier spirits is like friends. With the gods, we kind of treat them like celebrities, but with Lambertier spirits, we can kind of treat them like friends and give them the same customs that we do. So if you ever come out here and you found a Lambertier spirit that really works for you, just give them like some of the coffee that you're drinking, a sandwich. If you're eating a sandwich, give them a sandwich too, and that can make them feel a little bit more connected. Because you've got to realize, over hundreds of years, when pagans stopped giving offerings to like spirits of the land or the natives, these Lambertier spirits have just been forgotten, and they kind of forget that these spirits of the land, they've been here for a lot longer than we have. So anytime I come out to this forest, this is known as the Manor Forest, I always come here to this Lambertier site, and I always feel connected. And it's every time. I've brung friends here. I've brung my best friend Jamie here, who is also my cameraman, who's probably working today because he works at an airport, and I think he's doing a brilliant job. I've brung friends here like Michael and Liam, who I see as mighty Thor Michael and great Flair Liam. These people are great friends of mine. We come to the forest, we enjoy ourselves, some more than others. But, you know, it reminds me that I have taken friends here to this sacred place. You can take friends to sacred places, or sacred groves. And it's like, say if you've got like a grandparent or a granddad, and they're always there, but they have no company. But you go there often and you give offerings to them and you spend time with them. And just spending time is enough. Giving an offering is something else. You know, bringing company there makes them have a presence, makes them have a sense of life again. And that's what we should do with Lambertiers. We should give them back their lives. Because a long time ago, there was pagans like me. I say like me because there is pagans around. There are still pagan groups out there. There are still pagans to follow the old ways, but it's hard to find pagan circles, you know, because you don't find them very often. Like for me, I remember the first time I found my first pagan friend. His name was Lee. But yeah, I remember the very, very first time I found my very, very first pagan friend, and his name was Lee. And he was a good friend, you know. He taught me many things about the gods. He taught me many things about the spirits that I didn't know myself. He told me many different things about the sagas. And you know, we worked together. You know, that was a time when I used to think that I was a Viking, and I had this kind of like ponytail that came all the way around, and I had this beard, but it wasn't a very good beard. Most people said that women could grow a better beard than I could, and it kind of sucked because it was the first time I ever grew my beard out, and it was just very, very like wiry. It's not the way it looks now. Like, I actually trimmed my beard, and I'll tell you the reason why I trimmed my beard. It's because I wanted to feel more connected to nature, and the best way to feel more connected to nature is to feel the cold. As Wim Hof has said, we have alienated ourselves from nature, and therefore, in order to be more connected to nature, we have to embrace the cold. So yeah. But yeah, on the topic of my good friend Lee, we don't really talk anymore, and it's a bit of a shame because I thought now I've got to that point in my path that I'm kind of a little bit more confident with what I believe in. I give offerings when I can, and you know, I try to live a more spiritual life every single day. I thought we could stay more connected, but he's working somewhere else now. He doesn't work in the same hospital as me, so yeah, it was a bit of a downtime, but I realised it was by the fates he came into my life and taught me things, and it's by the fates and by the gods that he left and he found a new life somewhere else. And there is a little stick formation over there that looks a little bit odd and different. It's like it looks like a house made of sticks. I'm going to show you this. This is the reason why I love hiking in this forest, because there's always something new that you can find. You know, I found bones in this forest, let alone anything else. I found sticks in this forest. And I found my Lambertier spirit in this forest, you know. Obviously, what I'm filming on right now is my new camera equipment, and I have a tendency of buying that. But yeah, this is what I can see at the moment. Hey, I'm a Norse pagan. Hi, I'm Aaron, and I'm a Norse pagan, and this is my new house. Ta-da! This is my new house. It has central heating, of course. We just burned the whole entire thing. You know, we have forest all around us. And by the way, we don't need windows. And by the way, we don't need windows. It is just all immersive. Why not? You know, I do like things like this. And, you know, just wandering through the forest, I've been, at this moment in time, I was at work, you know, there's 2 Mjolnirs that I actually own. So I've got an iron Mjolnir from Blutforge that I wear around my neck, and it actually does make me feel really connected when I wear it. And I tell you the reason why. Because the iron that actually is in Tyler from Blutforge's pendants all come from abandoned mines. So it's been charged by the mountain, and it's been charged up in them mountains. Therefore, you feel the connection there, and that's the reason why I really like his items. But I also wear a bronze Mjolnir, and the reason why I wear a bronze Mjolnir is because if you look at the, it's good for electrical currents, but also not only that, bronze, it deflects negativity, but it also brings energetic positivity to you. So it brings out the positive version of yourself to some level of degree. But the iron it's more like a spiritual armor that goes around you and helps you connect a little bit more. It deflects negativity but heals you from within, and that's the reason why iron and bronze are very different. However, I thought to myself, it's not about what Mjolnir I wear around my neck. Spirituality is not this so materialistic physical thing. It is more about what you're doing. It's not about what you have. It's not about what you own. You know, I've had many things of a physical nature. As you can tell, like what I'm wearing right now is a lot like the clothing that the person who has inspired me and inspired much of my path, and inspired me and motivated me to do what I do. And a lot of my style has been based off of that person. So if you look at me and you think, oh, you're just dressing up like Jacob, then you may be correct. But those things are only to sort of make me feel more motivated to go out and do these things. You know, there was a time when, you know, I got to the point where I really didn't believe in myself. And when I wore these items, they make me believe in myself a little bit more. So that's the reason. So if you think I'm being a copycat, you're probably right. And if you want to know the reason why, it is a genuine reason. Keeps me inspired, keeps me motivated, keeps me doing the things. But now I've come away from materialism for a bit. You know, I got to the point where I thought, if I bought more items, if I bought more clothing, if I bought more spiritual items from my altar, maybe that will make me feel more connected. And it doesn't. You know, it's not about what you physically have. It doesn't matter how much you buy. These physical items will always make you feel so disconnected because they're not connected to spirit. They're not connected to you embracing what you already have. So what I realized is that minimalism was key. So I had to go through all the things I did have and look at them things and think, does this give me value? Does having this object give me value? Or does having these items give me value? And I found that it didn't. It just made me feel a bit more disconnected. And that's the reason why I decided to, I believe in like clothes bins. So a clothes bin is something that you would use to sort of, you would put all your clothes in a bag, and you might go to Dunham Mill or you might go to TK Maxx, and you might give away the clothing that you're no longer wearing. It's called recycling the clothes that you don't wear. And I think that's very important. I believe in recycling. I believe in if another man's rubbish can be another man's treasure. And I really do believe that. And I think that can really help you. But at this moment in time, you're probably thinking, what am I doing right now? I'm just walking through the forest right now. I'm talking to you guys. And I noticed that right now, this is really helping me just to vent, just to get this off my chest. But when I felt really disconnected, it was when I was at work, and I felt it right here in the chest. And I thought to myself, what can I do? What can I do? And I thought, oh, maybe I have to change my ears, and I did, and it did help. But then I thought to myself, why does it have to be a physical object? Maybe is there something that I'm doing that's disconnecting me? Maybe when I'm at work, and all I was really doing is I was going to work, I was going home, I was sleeping, then I was going back to work again. When I'm off, I'm just being a family man, I'm just staying at home, and then I'm going to work, staying at home and going to work. I was doing the 9 to 5. And I could understand the reason why I was so disconnected, because I wasn't doing yoga, I wasn't doing meditation, I wasn't going out to a forest like this and really connecting to these wonderful views. And honestly, what I'm coming up to right now is, by the way, you can't put your feet in this because I don't know what's in this. But right now you can see there is a pond just behind me right there. You can see that? Stretches all the way around. Lovely view, this. But yeah, I've been missing this. And when it started to rain just this morning, I got here, it wasn't raining, so I put my head on the tree and I said, thank you, great tree, I'm back. And then it rained. And I thought, shit. And I usually wear a windbreaker, so I got a windbreaker from the Fellowship of Northern Traditions, and I would typically wear that when it rains. I would wear it over my coat, and it would protect me from the rain because it's waterproof. When I got this jacket, it didn't say it was waterproof, it said it was water repellent, and I thought, fuck. So then I'm going to be drenched. I wasn't. It just sat on the coat. So I thought, oh, that's a good idea. Don't have to worry about it. But then I was worried about if I could have a coffee or not. And because of minimalism, oh, this is another cool thing. This is a very, very old tree. You see this tree here? This tree is a very, very old tree. It looks a bit like the tree of Yggdrasil. However, at the bottom of this tree, I've actually taken samples from this tree before. It was struck by lightning. It was struck by Thor's Mjolnir. You can see right here, the burn area here, where it was scored and hit and lit up. And it looks as if it was hit and it died. And as it hit and it died, it was reborn because it grew around it. As you can see here, it grew around its wound. So this, to me, in my opinion, represents the healing tree, because it was hit, it was wounded, it was burned beyond repair. It was about to die. Right there, this tree was about to die. And yet, even though it's got this massive wound, it's got this massive scar, it still lives to this day and grows even better than before. So to me, that represents the healing tree, the tree that will never die. So, and it looks a lot like Yggdrasil's tree, as it's all coming outwards like this. Kind of looks kind of cool, if I'm honest. In this forest, you do get lots of wild deer. So I'm not entirely sure if you can see it, but just behind me, you can see some wild deer walking. You can see some wild deer over there. Not entirely sure if you can see them, but they're just behind me, just about there. It's okay, they wouldn't, you know, even though there's wild deer on this forest, they're not going to hurt me. All right, deer are very, very silent creatures. I've always said that when I see deer, I see Freyr. But another thing is that there was a time when I saw a great stag in this forest, and this great stag looked at me as close as, I don't know, like a few meters away. So you see where that tree is right there? That's how close the stag was to me. And it was like the stag looked at me and I looked at the stag, and it's as if we knew each other. And in that time, I bowed and the stag bowed and it went on its way. And then it went into a fair clearing of distance. And then it bowed again and I bowed back. And that was it. So I feel very much connected to the deer and the stag. They're harmless creatures. They would never hurt you. As long as you don't hurt them, they're not going to hurt you. So that's the reason why I say protect these creatures, because they would protect you just as much as you should protect them. And if you do piss off a deer, be warned, because they will fucking beat the shit out of you. Especially the ones with the big antlers. But you know, there was a time when I was just walking through the forest, and honestly, there was just this, like 4 stags just standing there. A younger stag, a male stag and an elder stag, and then another stag that was a little bit younger. And they're all just standing there, minding their own business. Some of them were clackering antlers with each other, but most of the time they were minding their own business. And what I realised is that I stood there in front of this male stag and I bowed before the male stag. The male stag bowed before me and it let me go on my way. And at that moment in time, I was lost, I was hungry, I was wet, I was cold. I didn't know where I was. My Wi-Fi was about to give up. My map wasn't very good, and the stag let me go on my way. And it made me realise that you can have experiences like that. And funny enough, the deers do remember who you are. They remember what you're wearing, and even if you're wearing different clothing, they know who you are. They kind of can tell in your eyes. So that's why I say, if you are going to go into the forest, just remember the forest will remember who you are and remember what you are doing. So that's when I say, always be careful what you're doing, especially in sacred forests like this. But yeah, on the basis of my healing journey, my healing journey has been very kind of slow. You know, obviously today I decided that I didn't want to bring my massive shamanic drum with me, and that was just because of I just didn't want to bring something else with me. I just wanted to use this camera, new camera equipment. I just wanted to walk around with my selfie stick kind of thing, and I didn't want to bring another bag with me. Plus, musical instruments I don't use very often. I use them occasionally. Usually when I do big events like this, and I'm trying my best to maybe once a month give an offering to a deity like a god. But with Lambertier spirits you can kind of give offerings more frequently because they're not gods, but they are in the land. And if you've got like a spare sandwich, giving a spare sandwich to a Lambertier spirit, you're going to get more of a connection. And it's good to stay connected to your Lambertier spirits. But it's a whole nother thing, you know. Connecting to the spirits of the land also connects you to the heart. So when we come into February, so I think I would like to, so today's January, in January I have given offerings to Odin at the start of the year. I thought, why not? But I was thinking in February what I'd like to do is give an offering to Jord. So by February I will probably come out here again. I'm going to be trying to go into the forest maybe every week if I can. And if it's not the manor, then it's going to probably be Rayfells Park, because that's the closest, or Harrow Lodge Park, or the Chase, or Hornchurch Country Park. Any park that I can find, I will try to go there at least once a week. Probably Rayfells Park, because it's closer. Will I be doing a video every week about it? Probably not, but if I do, it's because I found something out that I would like to share with you guys. So, if you've enjoyed the content here at the Hipster of Odin, then feel free to like and subscribe this video. Whatever you do, no matter if you view this video, whether you like this video, or whether you are a subscriber, anything helps. And I just want to say thank you to each one of you that has managed to stay as long as you have, just listening to my ramblings and just seeing the views that I'm seeing right now, and seeing the Odin tree in the background, and me standing here on the fields of Valhalla with the great sun in the background. I feel even more of a pagan than I did when I just first stepped onto this forest. Thank you to each one of you for just watching this video, because it all helps me and it all makes me feel just a little bit more connected here, there and everywhere. So until the whole, Skull.